Welcome to the Growing Up Bananas podcast, where we dissect the perks and tribulations of being bananas.
It's hard being yellow when I feel so white.
My name is Ethan. Danny is sitting next to me, and in many ways, I'm sitting next to her. What do we have in store for today?
We have the fascinating chat with Sioni, or Sioni_Fiji FIGI on Instagram, to get an insight into his life and journey so far. So let's get into it.
So before we start, we just spoke about going to a grocery store and doing something with a watermelon. Would you like to elaborate?
No, the other day I went with my mom shopping and I feel like it's an Asian thing though. Like you slap the melon to see whether it's ripe or not.
I didn't know that was an Asian thing.
Well, did you know it was a thing?
And then what are you hearing for? Like, what are you trying to
I was
from
gonna
it?
ask you. I thought you would know. I think it's like if it's hollow or if it's not hollow, and if
Sweeter?
something like that. It's got like more meat in it. Or
Yeah, to be fair, I don't buy a whole lot of watermelon. I leave that to my mother and wife. But
do you eat fruit?
I do. Not
Okay.
much though. Apples and bananas,
Oh, is that it?
pretty much. Are you the type of Asian who likes exotic fruits like dragon fruits and durian and things like that?
I hate durian.
Yeah, it's the smell.
Yeah. We at Kumo we had durian and it was like we had to work around it. It was in the kitchen 24/7.
Oh,
The worst thing.
yeah. But no, I'm a pretty boring fruit person, so
Do you
I
need
know-
it cut up for you?
yeah, 100%. That's why it's apples and bananas, because
Yeah,
it's just
fair
slow work. Even mandarins are probably a bit too much for me. So
Interesting.
yeah, well, I didn't know the slapping the watermelon was an Asian thing, but there we go.
I'll give it some research.
Was it a sweet watermelon anyway after that? Like, did you guys end up buying it?
I think she bought it for a friend. We
Ah,
didn't even
so-
need it.
So we don't know.
Yeah. Sorry. I don't know the results for that one.
That's all good. Well, let's get into it. We've got quite a long one coming up here with Sioni, so should be an interesting chat with him. Let's do it.
For sure.
This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Be sure to check out Podcast of the Month, Barrel Age Flicks, and HILF podcast. Links in the description. So we're very lucky today to be joined by Sioni, or Sioni_Fiji on Instagram and probably on other medias as well. Sioni is a stuntman, a mentor, content creator, lover of the finer things in life. But most importantly, he's shredded to the bone, if you've seen him on Instagram. Welcome, Sioni. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Better than good, actually. Well, first off, thank you for having me. Although I feel slightly nervous, but this is the first podcast, and you've got to start somewhere. This is
man.
great.
It'll be good, I'm sure. So I guess first question is always, do you consider yourself a banana?
100%. Growing up, I always thought, man, I'm Asian, but I feel so white in the inside, as in because I had Asian families that tried to speak Chinese to me, but at that time I could not speak Chinese, so I'm just feel like a white guy.
Yeah, but obviously with the yellow exterior.
Yeah, 100%.
So then take us through your childhood. So let's start off with, what's your ethnic origin?
Yeah, so it might come up as a shock to a lot of people, but I'm actually Chinese. I was born in Tuvalu, raised up in Fiji, and then just came to Australia just before COVID. My first language was actually the language that Tuvaluan people speak. And then I came to Fiji when I was went to Fiji when I was 3. And then from there on, I lived with my Chinese family, and I've lost my first language, and then as well as pick up English. whereas my family has their own sort of dialect that's
Okay.
very similar to Cantonese, but not close to Mandarin. So I suppose as I was growing up, I was watching a lot of TVB series. That's like a Cantonese sort of TV series, Hong Kong.
Yep.
So from there, I picked little bits and pieces.
And how did your family end up in Fiji?
Yeah, great question. So, according to my grandma, I don't remember too well, but my grandma said there was a war going on in China. So, she was a pretty wealthy lady, but then everything from her was stripped away. So, she had to flee the country and in search of better opportunities.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. And then what do you remember much about your early upbringing? Was it a sort of strict upbringing, or do you feel that you had a lot of sort of freedom to be the person you are now?
With my parents, I had 110% freedom. I could do whatever I want. But as soon as I was raised up with my grandparents, that there was no more of that. Yeah, so pretty strict. I couldn't sort of hang out with girls after school if I wanted to. My grandparents are farmers. They also were like market vendors. So I guess here in Australia, you guys have like the markets
Yep.
where you sell fruits and veggies. That's what my grandparents did. So after school, straight away, I would go and help. And then as we go home, we'd take care of the produce that's from the farm. So I guess no time to play around or hang around or have girlfriends.
Yep.
So it was just school, farm, and that's it.
And then I guess, yeah, that taught you a lot of hard work and you could see what it actually entailed from an example.
At that time, I didn't see it at all.
All right.
Yeah, I just sort of grew up depressed in a way. Reason being is because, for one, I can't understand them. So the way they teach you is, through a stick.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Oh no.
Yeah, so, they want me to use chopsticks, and the only way I would learn is they hit my hand when I pick up a spoon, and they wouldn't feed me if I don't use the chopstick. So, you gotta learn and adapt, and I guess if you can't understand what people say, you could read the physiology, the body language. So that was, yeah, I guess growing up, I didn't really see it until I started my sort of first business. That's when I actually see. So for the most part, I was just depressed and sad. That's it.
I think people are going to want to hear a little bit more, not about the depression and the sadness, but in terms of the way that you were taught. So the discipline. It's like you say, if you didn't eat, you get sort of hit, things like that. And that was probably a really old sort of typical way of raising kids.
100%.
Danny, I know for you, you said you didn't really have too many experiences like that.
No, it was pretty chill. I mean, did they care about your grades though?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, I've always end up being the last person in class in terms of grades, or the second last. So I guess they always try to encourage me to study better and do better, but education was just not for me.
Yeah, okay.
Fair enough.
And I guess I didn't really ask do you have any siblings?
Yep, I do. I've got 3 sisters and 2 brothers.
Oh, okay, so quite a big family.
Yeah.
And everyone was in Fiji?
Correct. But right now, it's just my grandparents in Fiji, and then everyone's in New Zealand, China, pretty much all around the world. Slowly colonizing the world.
Yeah, that's it. It's Chinese for you. So did you grow up, so you're quite a larger family in terms of siblings? Were you guys quite a close-knit family-oriented type of family?
So I grew up with my elder sister, my grandparents, and uncles and aunties. My other siblings, I'm not close with them at all. They're in China, and yeah, we don't communicate at all.
Are they older than you?
One is older, and the rest is younger. So
Okay.
right now, it's just me and my elder sister that have very close communication. She's right now in New Zealand and is working as a chef as well.
Okay.
It's good fun.
Well, then I'm trying to think about what school would have been like for you. So as a Chinese guy, can't really understand the language.
Yep.
What was school like for you?
So in Fiji, school, with my own personal experience, it was sort of grew up getting bullied all the way. Doesn't matter what class because for one I couldn't understand, and then just to catch up on grades was another whole challenge. So not only have to learn English, but I also have to sit for the tests, exams that I don't understand, as well as I had memory problems and so many things that I guess talking to locals here, they say, oh, ADHD or sort of all this sort of depression and so many other mental illnesses. But I guess it's a privilege that I didn't know of such things so that I don't identify myself as that.
Yep.
But growing up, people has always been saying dumb, stupid, or the locals would, how do you say, make fun of us Chinese. It's like well known that if you're Asian and you're in Fiji, you'll experience racism almost straight away. So yeah, it's an everyday thing. And then I guess coming to Australia, that people being racist is like, oh, doesn't hurt me anymore.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's
Yeah.
good.
I guess we'll talk more about your experiences in Australia a bit later. But back on that, I mean, have you been able to have it sort of diagnosed now that you had a learning disability, or you don't you're not too I guess phased, or you don't really want to know,
So
rather not be put in a box, I suppose.
So a funny story was I remember during my late years in high school, I was skipping school because that's how depression got to me so bad that I would tell my parents or grandparents that I'm going to school, but I don't.
Yeah.
I end up in the internet cafe. And then people would play games, but I, for some reason, would jump on motivational videos and entrepreneurship and things like that. I was into boxing as well, so that was good. It was a way to deal with depression. And then I constantly had headaches. And then the doctor told me, why don't you try avoiding milk? I'm like, cool.
Yep.
So from that day onwards, my memory improved. So as all areas of my life has improved. I could sort of speak and remember things. And I guess from 18, I picked up a book and started reading. It says how to remember everything.
Yeah, right.
So literally from there on, that's how I built up my life. And I guess sort of all these illnesses, I don't think I'm not diagnosed with anything at all. And do I see myself as anything? No. There's a great saying that they say that these days doctors, they just like to label you and send you to a clinic. It's no longer like, oh, what is the root of the issue? Because me growing up without my parents, it sort of affected me in many ways. Just as you see other people that are raised up by a single parent, where they, I guess, a little crazy.
Yep.
As in drug abusive and alcohol. So
I guess for me, I'm interested to know, how did you actually cope back then with getting through it? Because obviously you have gotten through it, and we see you now today.
Yep.
Was it as simple of let's just get through it and I'll fix everything later, or how did you actually get through it mentally?
You stopped drinking milk.
That helped.
that's a good point. Well, first step was I didn't drink milk, and then second step was getting to fitness. So I took care of my food, diet. My skin has improved, so that at least I wasn't too self-conscious. And then as well as reading self-development books, learning about personalities, learning about your own limits, and sort of being responsible. Because I used to blame my parents, blame my grandparents, blame my friends, blame my teachers. But oftentimes people don't blame themselves, because they said it doesn't matter what happened to you, but what matters is what you're going to do about it from now on. So from there on, I sort of have this attitude that maybe I am lacking, but as long as I'm working on it, I'm already 50% better than the average person. So instead of pointing fingers, I suppose just took responsibility. That would be my way of coping. And yeah, long story short, less than a year, I started my fitness business. So that was good.
Okay. Yeah. So like say, just really looking at yourself rather than finding excuses around you. On the milk story, though, is there actually science behind how it can sort of slow you down and cloud you mentally?
Yeah. So according to, every doctor is different. And these days, usually when you have migraines, doctor says here's the Panadol or here's the drug, rather than why don't you try avoiding few things? Because look, everyone could be. Some people might be allergic to citrus or fruits. Some people might be allergic to wheat, which is very weird for Asians, or gluten. So for milk, they say a lot of reasons why people have all these sort of hormone problems is because of milk. Because cows, they got injected with so much hormones that within a short period of time they grow so big. So that in turn has affected, I guess, people in general, because they say you are what you eat. So I guess that's why a lot of girls these days are maturing a lot quicker than expected. So with milk, for me, it was more of, how do you say? She just said, look, it might have to do something with the sinus or something. So try avoiding it, and that was it. And spoke to other people. There's like, they had sinus problem, and as soon as they avoided milk, their life just significantly improved. And I guess vegan has their own point of view too, where they say mammals, we're the only mammals that continue to drink milk after the stage where you only ingest liquid. So definitely a lot of research, but I didn't really look into it. I
As
just
long as
knew
it worked for you, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I guess what matters is what works.
Yeah.
Are you lactose intolerant as well?
No, it's not at all, actually.
okay.
Surprisingly, I could eat as much as I want, but I start to stutter and I start to forget things when I drink milk,
Oh.
which is very different from anyone else. So.
And then just on that book that you read, How to Remember Everything.
Yeah.
Were there one or two key points
Yeah.
that you can share that kind of, because fortunately I have a pretty decent memory.
Yeah.
Not the smartest person, but I've got a good memory, which allows me to recite things that I've heard in the past. Were there any one or two things that you took away that can be pretty helpful?
100%. So they say it was storytelling. So imagine you have to remember 5 things. Let's say, can you guys give me 5 things? Ooh, let's put it to the test right now.
Just
Banana.
anything?
Yeah, let's try.
You can.
Banana.
Banana, that's good.
Cat.
Cat, yeah.
Computer.
Banana, cat, computer, yeah.
Socks.
Socks,
Wait, how many is that?
Four.
Books.
books. Oh, great. So the story is how you tell the story to yourself. That's completely up to you, even though it sounds stupid. So one morning, I woke up, I ate a banana, and then I stumbled upon a cat. And then the cat has frightened me. That was shock. It's like a book to my face. Now, it doesn't have to really make sense. It can be as cringy as you want. And then And then with computers. So now I can't really articulate this because it's how you formulate in your head. So that's how I made the story, like, bumped into a cat, sort of ate a banana in the morning, jumped on a computer to do some research, and then read a book, sort of thing. So if you do sort of that storytelling for yourself, it worked for me.
Yep.
And a great speaker said, if everyone could do well in life by information, everyone would be tall, skinny, rich, and happy. But it so happens that a lot of people remember things through storytelling.
Yep.
So that worked well for me.
It's like the ABC, right? If you just sit there and say, like, okay, what comes after Q, you'll go through and you'll sing the song, and that's how you'll remember the alphabet.
That's right. 100%. Oh, that's a great point.
Yeah, actually just thought of that then. Because I know for me, like, with my memory, it's always by association. So I'm very good at remembering a lot of things with sport.
Yeah.
Because I'll remember, okay, who played in that time?
Yep.
Who was good around that time? And then I'll think, okay, well, they probably won. They probably did this and that. And that's how I can kind of remember trivial, stupid things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's actually a really, really good technique.
Or let's say with Ethan, I would associate you with e-smoking. So just to remember the name, Danny, I would say the way I remember Danny was, there was a great meme back then. It was like, damn, Daniel. So that's how I sort of remember people's name.
Yeah.
There's some people that I meet only once, but I remember the name for like at least years or something. And they're like, how do you remember my name? So I guess
Wait.
that's...
Is that a true story?
Yeah.
Is that,
Yeah.
That is actually. So
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it definitely works
Mm-hmm.
because it's by association rather than actually just trying to remember
Yep.
exactly what it is. Let's touch back on the school life again,
Yep.
or I guess just life in Fiji. So, what was life in Fiji like for you?
Mm.
Did you, like you say, you had all these different things that you were trying out? It was fitness, it was starting to read, those sorts of things.
Yep.
And that's where you kind of found your sense of belonging.
100%. So as soon as I start reading, I also started studying certificate 3 and 4 in fitness. So from there on, at least I de-associated myself from my classmates, people who would be nice to you but talk behind your back.
Yep.
So as soon as I start doing that, my life has improved as I try to associate myself with only successful people. I had a fitness mentor as well, so he was the one who guided me on how to start my business. But it all ultimately comes down to you. And then I started, I guess, attending Christian meetings because a lot of the great self-help books originated from the Bible. So
Okay.
I believe the Bible is one of the greatest self-help books out there. And then, yeah, my sort of story has always been chasing the dream, which is at 18 was buying my mother a home. So, and the minimum wage back then was $2.50 an hour. I'm like, there's no way in hell.
To work 120 years.
Yeah. So I was saying, man, even if I work without sleep, I could never buy her a home until I'm like 60 or something. So that didn't make sense. So I said, okay, let me try to find ways to increase my income. So working as a personal trainer, that is, I can charge however I want. So I went from $20 to 30 up to 40. At that time, I also was the highest charging personal trainer that I'm aware of. And then as soon as I see any sort of fitness gurus that come to Fiji, I would personally drive hours just to meet them.
Okay.
I don't know which sort of hotel or they're at, but then as soon as I sort of have a glimpse of where they usually visit, I just go there, just wait in the lobby, and then I bump into them. I'm like, hey. So that would be my story.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
Well, that's like a true entrepreneur starting right there.
Yeah.
That's a story to tell.
Guess.
And a lot of people would be willing to do that. I mean, I probably wouldn't. So that, I guess that speaks to that grind, that hustle that you've had to do.
Sorry, just adding on to that. This is why. So I just wanted to connect how I got into stunts too.
Sure.
So as I was doing that, so I realized that, what I earned in a year, I earned in 9 months. So just cutting the months off. So I'm like, okay, let me try to earn whatever I earned in a year within 6 months. That worked. So I gradually kept cutting it down until it was about 4 months. So I'm like, how can I push more? How can I get more out of my time? So I said, okay, I can start my group fitness sessions instead of 1 hour to 45, instead of 45 to half an hour. So I can squeeze 2 groups in one.
Yep.
So that way I could squeeze as much money out and charge as high as I can. They say double the price. I did. That means losing 50% of the client. But if you lose 50%, but you earn the same income, that is still, business. That is still a smart investment. So I'm like, cool. And then I picked up a book called Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, where he said, if you trade time for money, you sort of work until you die kind of thing. So I'm like, damn. So from there on, I was like, I still haven't figured out ways to work while I'm asleep. So then from there on, I saw this actor who came in one day. He came for a group class and I was training him and stuff. And then he said, there's actually a casting call for this sort of group of people they're looking for. He asked everyone except me. I'm like, okay.
Yep.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to apply. Everyone is just talking about it, but no one's doing anything. So I applied for it. I went, audition, I got accepted. And then he saw me at the set. He was like, oh, here you are. I knew you could do it. I'm like, bro, you did not even ask me. So, I got into it. My passion has always been, I wanted to become a martial artist because Bruce Lee inspired.
Yep.
if anyone is. And then, so I was hired as a stand-in. So a stand-in is where, just imagine two actors are talking like this, but before the actors come in, people have to come in and test the lighting, test the microphone,
Yep.
test if it's the right camera angle. So yeah, that's what I was doing as a stand-in. That's what we do.
Okay.
So I got pretty close relationship with a couple actors, and then for some reason I've always been shy for 18 years of my life. So from that on, I'm like, I've always this intrigued feeling of talking to people, because every time I talk to someone foreign, I learn so much more. So from that on, I was talking to this stunt coordinator. I was like, look, you don't have to pay me. I just want some time. I just want to learn some things. So I asked him, but he sort of just brushed it off. So I reached to my coordinator for stand-in. So she sent him a lengthy email because I don't know, I was doing good at my job, I suppose. So this is her way of giving back. And then yeah, she shot an email, and then the day after, he was like, pick up the stick, and then he started teaching me the basics and stuff. I'm like, cool. And then I followed him on Instagram. He followed me, and then I asked all these stunties, how do I get into stunts? They just said, look, just keep training. That's all they said. And Fiji didn't have any stunt training at all. So he just said, keep training. I'm like, cool. So I added all of them on social media. I kept posting because I knew they were watching.
Yep.
So I kept posting about the training I did, the exercises. And then long story short, a year later, when I had my fitness business running, I received a call from the coordinator for stand-in. They're like, oh, do you want to do this job? I'm like, no. Because at that time, I was earning more from my fitness business than working as a stand-in. Because for a stand-in, for 3 months, you can basically earn what you earn in a year for any other sort of entry-level jobs.
Yep.
So, yeah, my fitness business was doing really well. That what I earned in a year, I earned it in a month. What I earned in a year, I earned it in a week. So I'm like, I don't need that.
Yeah, right.
So then a week later, I received a call from the stunt coordinator, the guy who was like, pick up the stick. And then he went me with a few drills. So from there on, he was like, there's actually a job. I want you to come in and try it out. I'm like, cool. So that's basically the story of how it happened.
Yeah, jeez. A lot of I'd say a lot of luck, but you make your luck, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
I suppose they say luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
Yep.
So I guess if you call me lucky, I guess I am. But oftentimes people say lucky is like a roulette. So that kind of luck. So that's completely different from my luck.
Yeah, and you put yourself, and you were good enough to capitalize on the luck as well, or on the fortune rather.
Yep. A great saying is, it's better to be prepared for an opportunity than for an opportunity to come and not be prepared. So guess that hit it on the sweet spot.
Yeah, that's it.
Damn, this guy's filled with
So many
theory.
quotes.
Yeah.
It's good quotes though. You mentioned before that you really just wanted to. So all this started because you wanted to help your mom and buy her a home.
Yeah.
What's the relationship like with your parents? Because I'm kind of piecing it together. You didn't really grow up with them around.
Yep, at all.
How did that kind of all come about?
Yeah, so when I was, I didn't expect to reveal this story, but my dad had a business going on and it didn't do too well. People who said, I'll help you and this and that, or who used his name to sort of borrow loans.
Yep.
It all came under him, and then he sort of didn't have a choice because it was a life-threatening situation for him. So
Oh shit.
he had to sort of flee the country. So from there on, my parents split when I was exactly 7. That's when my depression started too. So that happened. They split up, and then I was left behind with my grandparents. But at that time, it was the worst thing that ever happened in my life. But also looking back, it's probably the best thing that ever happened in my life. Because I went back to see my siblings as soon as I started earning money.
Yep.
They just seemed like they were playing games all the day or just, doing nothing much. So I'm like, kind of glad that I didn't grow up with my mom. Because my mom is sweet. She's lovely. That's why I sort of have a dream of buying a home. But I guess that sort of, do what you want is bad in a long-term sense. But whereas in the short term, stick might be the worst thing, but it's probably the best thing long term wise. So
Yeah. Well, I've got a quote then. So, as they say, pressure makes diamonds.
pressure make the diamond. Word.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, diamonds are made under pressure. Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm on the other side. I'm the one where like my parents are like, oh, it's really chill.
Mm.
And now I'm lazy.
I don't think you're lazy. Maybe you see yourself as lazy, but I think you try a lot of different things.
Yeah,
Which is
that's above average already.
At the moment, I feel like I'm just potatoing.
we can always do more, I guess. But you're
I mean,
alright.
I'm here now, I guess.
So then, looking back on your situation, do you kind of wish you were put under a little bit more pressure, or
I don't know if it would be considered the same type of pressure. Like, even if they pressured me to do well in school, I don't think entrepreneurial kind of things fall under that category.
yeah, or even like just adversity? Let's just say you didn't have both your parents around, or think. I mean, no one wants that, but I don't know where I'm going
Yeah,
with this.
fair enough. It's like one of those things, maybe when entrepreneurship comes in those desperate times. I feel like sometimes I'm not desperate enough.
Yeah,
They say adversity creates entrepreneurship. So I guess everyone has this. The beauty of entrepreneurship is doesn't matter what your background is. What matters is what you do from there onwards. Some people could be raised up rich. Some people could be raised up broke. But they say the new rich is coming from broke families usually. Like I guess your family, starting from I guess rags to riches in a way.
somewhat. Yeah, yeah. I mean, most immigrant families, they come here with nothing.
Yeah, 100%.
And some turn to crime, which for me is what it is. You got to do what you have to do for your family. Others take different routes, and I think we all just need to be proud of anyone who comes here and makes something of themselves, because it's very difficult. Which I guess we'll speak to a bit more about the next stage of your life.
Yeah. Sounds good.
So, and then thanks for sharing that story about your family. So now then, the relationship with your parents, do you still quite close? You still feel like it's a how can I say that there's still a strong relationship there with all these years past?
Yeah. I guess as time grew by, I sort of learned to appreciate my grandparents' effort as well as my parents. Fair enough. My dad, I guess he wanted to become more successful financially in a sense that, anything bad that happened, what can you do about it? And yeah, my grandparents just worked really hard, and I didn't see it back then, but now that I see it, sometimes I do get emotional thinking back because I was such a bad kid. I'd never listen to what they say. So I've been trying to build sort of our relationship together, but communication wise it's not the best. I sometimes have to communicate through Cantonese, Mandarin, and English, all three,
Yeah.
just to piece it and make it work. But
Wait, is that the main language in Fiji?
the main language in Fiji is actually English. Like
Okay, yeah.
I'd say like 90% of people can speak English. It's only the rural areas and really old people that doesn't know English at all. So
Yeah. Okay. And then now you're here.
yeah, it's great.
What were the motivations to come to Australia? You said you came sort of just before COVID.
Yep. Oof. So long story short, we can probably lay it out.
We're gonna get back and forth, but
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. The story was I had my fitness business. I also had a Chinese girlfriend. So, hence that's why I went back and forth to China a couple times.
Yep.
Originally to see my mom, but I also learned Chinese through her, and it was just a passion that I learned about Jack Ma Alibaba. So I saw the way he articulated his words, so I wanted to learn Chinese because I wanted to do business.
Yep.
So the reason or why I'm here in Australia is because of my partner. She had to come to Australia for studies. She was like, you know what, I'm willing to stay here back in Fiji with you. But I was like, oh, I feel so bad if that happens because she has such a great life opportunity ahead of her. And she comes from probably the most powerful Chinese family in Fiji. So I was like, oof, you're doing that all for a kid from the
Crazy
farm?
rich Asian stuff.
Yeah. Crazy rich. So I was like, oh, I want to go to China. So she was like, she started searching all these schools and stuff. And then with her connection, me and her could get a scholarship. So I didn't have to pay for anything. But I was like, but do I want to end up in China since the competition there is so fierce? I guess that's one reason why eBay has withdrew from China. So then I was like, you know what? You decide. So she decided Australia, and then she decided Queensland because the weather is similar to Fiji. So from there on, I was like, you know what? You can go and I'll stay. When I earn money, I'll just come, visit you, come back.
Yep.
But then I talked to my uncle, and he said long distance is very difficult. It will come to a period of time that, anything you say is just words. So he was relaying his experience with his partner. So he said, you know what, why don't you just sell it? You're still young, and just go. Like, cool. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
Long story short, here I am.
That's it. So Sioni, so obviously here now in Australia, what were your expectations like before you actually came here? What did you know about Australia? What did you think was going to happen?
So to be honest, I didn't even know Australia existed on the map because I've never heard anything about Australia.
Yep.
Maybe one thing, but it didn't really register with me, but it was about the snakes, spiders, and crocodiles. So like, ooh,
All true.
super scary. But when I came here, I was like, oh, it's not that scary. Plus, why is it that sort of every Aussie, knowing that a foreigner came in, they'd say, when you go to the forest, be careful. There's drop bears. I freaked out.
Wait, what?
Drop bears?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a thing. I mean, it's not that common, but the bears that just drop out of the trees, they kill like hundreds of people a year.
Wait, is that actually true?
Yeah, it's an actual thing.
I've never heard of that before.
Really?
Wait, I mean,
'Cause you've lived in Brisbane most of your life, eh?
yeah, I mean, where else?
So like if you go rural, anywhere rural, there's a lot of that going on.
Is it the same as the coconuts in Fiji?
Oh, yeah, that too.
Yeah, okay.
That's
I've
right.
heard
So,
of that.
I've heard
you should be
that.
used to things coming out of the sky.
Not the bears, though.
Yeah, when I went hiking, I was all the way my hiking trip. But after the hiking trip, I'm like, okay, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It's definitely a thing, but yeah, I'd say fairly uncommon. You probably more want to look down at snakes and spiders. So the other stuff, yeah.
So far in Australia, I've never seen a snake as well as a big spider.
Okay.
Maybe a small one, but it's not as what social media portrays, where a lot of people ask me, is there a lot of big spiders and snakes? I said, yeah, in some places, but for me, I've never seen a snake or big spider, as well as experience any drop bears coming down on me, or even crocodiles or alligators or whatever's out there.
So I grew up, when we came to Australia, I grew up in Mackay.
Mackay.
which
Oh,
is
yeah.
An hour north. So I've seen a lot of everything. Snakes, spiders, crocodiles. Yeah.
I think the most, I feel like the thing they should warn us about is eshays.
Oh,
Like, yeah.
honestly, fair enough.
I
That's
think they're a lot
Yeah,
more
yeah,
dangerous than the animals.
Absolute grubs.
I would just walk, and a 15-year-old was like, bro, you want to have a go? I'm like, hold on.
okay. What
Where we
would you
going?
do? What would you do in that situation, though?
I
Would
just
you,
kept walking.
keep walking.
Yeah. Plus, well, in Fiji, I would have turned back and probably put him to sleep, but in Australia, it's a different law. So I
You-
guess,
Wait, what,
You've got your martial arts training, so
yeah.
put it to use.
what's the law in Fiji?
No law.
Oh,
So, as in, if someone breaks in, you break the legs or arm, it's fine. But in Australia, if someone, from what I heard is, if someone steals from you or break in, you're supposed to let them steal and take, and just let them go and call the cops. Whereas if you try to hit them, you get sued and sort of charged with something.
Yeah, even if they break into your house and they slip on a banana peel,
Okay.
they can sue you.
So,
but isn't it count as self-defense?
No,
I wish this is not
It has
America.
to be like it has to be like force. So like if someone comes in empty-handed, you can't grab a baseball bat and beat the crap out of them. You'll get in trouble.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. At the same time, you don't know what they have.
Mm.
They may have a knife and gun in the back pocket.
That's right.
So yeah,
So yeah, I think that way was good because it made me less violent. I had to sort of sort other ways of dealing with such situations. So
and then you came just before COVID, so a very interesting time for everyone. Did that factor into the move, or was that just coincidental?
ooh, I wish I could fortune tell, hey.
So like, what month did you come?
I believe it was late September, like
Okay, and then
literally
everything
29th September.
2019, yeah, and everything sort of kicked off like Feb March
Yeah.
2020.
So for a few months, it was sort of getting used to the travel system, which is terrible. I missed the bus and have to wait for another hour or something.
Yep.
Yeah, I came in. I thought the job would be easy to find, but it was a lot more difficult than expected. For a few months, I could not find a single job. I applied for many places. Every day, I would send at least 10 emails, walk around giving sort of resumes, which I never thought I'd ever do, working for someone. But yeah, what I do for survival, and I wanted to start learning how to cook straight away. But couldn't find a job for a few months, but thankfully I had savings from my business before. So I knew I could survive in Australia for at least 2 years without working and just have fun. But I like to be in the momentum. I'd get depressed if I just stay home. So
Yep.
and then lockdown happened. Ta-da! Depression came back.
Yeah, which is another whole story. I think Danny had a question about the lady that you came with.
Yep.
Oh yeah, what happened? What's the tea?
So let me make a statement, then I make a story because
Okay.
that's usually how it works. So they say a man without a dream shall perish. So therefore, a man without a vision will perish. In other words, let me translate and break it down. In other words, if a man does not have goals and dreams, he's somewhat has lost himself. For me, I needed a dream, I needed a purpose, I needed a goal to chase and go after. So when COVID happened, I couldn't see a business opportunity. I couldn't work. I couldn't talk with anyone because she didn't want me to talk with girls, and all my classmates are girls. So I didn't have friends, and I was just stuck here. My finances was going down because although COVID happened, I still couldn't pay for the. Sorry, although COVID happened, I still had to pay for school fees. So that's as a international student, it's
Yeah, it's
much more
ridiculous.
hefty.
Yep.
So yeah, I sort of lost the drive as well as losing myself in that sense. It was, yeah, became suicidal and stuff. So I just thought, she's better off with a better man rather than myself. So, and I also knew that she was good, but too bad she was a little too superstitious. That means one of her family members, they have a fortune teller. Well, that's what she does, and that's everything she's been foretelling has happened. I stay out of those kind of spiritual stuff, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, when I sort of met this fortune teller with my partner at that time, I didn't know this until we broke up, that she said I was not meant to be the one. So I'm like, is that? I'm like, that's very self-manifesting because you believe that anything I do that's ambitious or whatever, you've always tried to hold me back. So I guess the way I saw it was that was a self-fulfilling prophecy because if you believe it, you start to do everything to sort of make it happen.
Oh yeah, like manifest.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, thank goodness I ended this now, kind of thing. Because if that's what she believed in, what can I do? And if that's how she's raised in, how can you change her thinking? So, yeah, I just wish she was more logical in a sense.
Yep.
But you don't believe in like the fortune telling or like feng shui stuff at all?
No fortune telling, no fate, no,
Horoscopes.
no, not at all.
Wait, what about you?
No, not really. I mean, a lot of it is passed down just as a Chinese
Yep.
person. Certain
Yeah.
little things, like some feng shui stuff, but not really. I always believe that the destiny is determined by your actions.
Word.
Your parents?
Hell
They're
no.
probably somewhere. My parents are quite religious, so
Oh, yeah,
they
fair
more
enough.
believe that's their
Mm.
grounding, their compass. What
And-
about you?
low key.
No, if you do, I mean,
No, it's one of the things where like let's say you're buying a house, right? Like my mom, she was like, "Oh, we shouldn't get this house because the front door's not on the front." And apparently
yeah,
it's that
certain things
function.
like that. Yeah.
Or like the number 4 and stuff. Like don't get a house with the address number 4.
Mm.
It's like small stuff like that, but I don't think I would let it get in the way of a relationship or anything.
So, fun fact, because I, grew up as an Asian, and then I also read self-help books. And I also read like the forensics for things and stuff, because I was hoping that I was going to that direction in life. But anyways, you know how, well, if you guys don't know, now you know, feng shui, where they say, it's bad that you have like a light bulb hanging or dangling on top of you, on top of your bed. Well, that they say, look, if you have that brings bad luck, bad things are going to happen. But in sort of psychology sense is that if you're lying on the bed and you see something dangling that could break at any moment, you have those friends who, if they see, how do you say, a kid climbing on a tree, they're like always so scared of the kid falling.
Yep.
So, and the guys were like, don't worry about it. So what I'm trying to say is that there are certain people that if something's dangling on top of them, they would feel unsafe, insecure, or feel like something bad's gonna happen. In that sense, fair enough. Sooner or later, you'd always contemplating, thinking about it. Something bad's gonna happen, and when it happens, you're gonna say, "Oh, the feng shui guy just told me about that."
Yeah.
So, anyways, I'm not saying feng shui is fake, but there is some scientific things behind it. So, in many ways, so depends how you see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, perspective.
So when we were building this house, the whole time, like we didn't really pay attention to certain feng shui elements. And then when it came time to building the gate, you know how you're not meant to have your front door leading like straight to your front gate?
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that till then.
Yeah.
And then my mom was like, no, so we need to move the gate over so it's like not in line. I was like, that is going to look horrendous. And then also I was like, we haven't bothered with any of this before.
Yeah.
Like, why are we going to start now? So anyway, we ended up just doing it. So door leads straight out. Apparently it's meant to suckle your money out or something like that.
I mean, some of them seem kind of far-fetched though. I don't know.
And like you say, some of them are just practical. Like, why would you want a light bulb over your head or like you're sleeping with a painting above you which could fall at any point?
Yeah.
That's just practical.
Yeah.
But I guess talking about Chinese traditions and language and things like that. So what is the relationship like with your family back in China? So the fact that you couldn't really speak Chinese, taught yourself in different ways. What's it like when you go back and see them?
What's it like when I go back and see them? How to say? For one, they try to impose things on me straight away. They're like, oh, make sure, what's this? You get married at this age and, have kids and that. And how to say? A lot of Chinese sort of imposing things, which I'm sure we've all experienced somewhat. Or everyone gives red packet, which is the best part.
Oh, yeah.
Out of everything.
No problem with that.
Yeah. I was like, blah, blah, blah. And then that came, I'm like, gong xi fa cai and everything. But that was something I used to say back then. But since I'm away from luck and stuff, I don't say it anymore. Yeah. There's still those family Chinese traditions where when you come home, they light up the scent and, pray to their ancestors or the god. I don't participate in that. And, thankfully my parents, just respect my decision. Because before 18, I've got to do it. But after 18, when I started earning money for myself, they're like, you know what? You know how to look after yourself. We won't impose much further, but they still try.
And then I guess where do you feel most at home? Is it back when you're in Fiji? Is it when you're with your family in China? Tough one.
Tough one because it's, how to say, I've never sort of felt like I belong to any one of them. Reason being is because I've grew up with a lot of Asians, or even here in Australia. When I first came, I started to hang with all Asians. But it's just one thing I realized is that a lot of them, they speak highly of you in front of you, and they speak so badly behind you. Or they say something that is indirectly affecting you or saying bad things. So I try to stay away from the association, or they would try to do something good, but they always have intention behind it. So I'm like, that's toxic. I need to stay away from that. So do I feel most at home in Fiji? No. China? No. But I'm in search. And I have this instinct of building my own or having my own. So
Wait, is the toxic like friends or family or like both or
both.
both?
Yeah. Well, the only reason why the Asian friends are like that because their family are like that. And it's, I guess, negativity is very normal in Asia. Like when you see each other, usually, well, I don't know about you guys' family, but they usually say something negative about each other. Oh, you've gone skinny, you've gone fat.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're never just normal. You've either lost weight or you put on weight or something. Yeah.
Yeah, or if you don't know something, they're like, oh, why are you so stupid? Like that. It's never like you could do better.
It's like no filter.
So,
Fair enough.
yeah, that's why I said it's sort of negative. So I just try to avoid it and hang out with positive people.
Yeah. Before we sort of start talking about yourself now, just kind of wanted to really quickly touch on, I suppose, like the depression side and
Yep.
if you're comfortable. So like, yeah, how do you kind of get through it? Because obviously you're having those feelings. It's not just from today. It's a
Yep.
build up of different things, like you say, probably being away from your parents,
Mm.
the discrimination you faced in Fiji,
Yep.
different things. How do you cope with it?
Well, I think the most important for me was sort of just having the positive group around you. So, and by the way, I fell into depression again here in Australia because I didn't have a goal or dream.
Yeah.
So, this is one way to bring up the mentorship because in the gym, I met a guy who was talking about, entrepreneurship, dreams, and goals. I'm like, that's my language. That's what I speak, entrepreneurial sense wise. So I linked up with him, and then from there on, I met my mentor, as well as having this support group of people that's chasing their dreams. They say birds of feather flock together because they're all heading in the same direction. So that's how I sort of had my dream running, as well as have started to surround myself with like-minded people. So that way you're a lot more, how to say, fair enough, you dwell into some negativity, but if you always have people uplifting, you're in a better place
Yep.
than most people. You're better off out there than in your bed crying or listening to sad songs. And then third part was changing the things I say to people and myself. Or instead of saying I'm not good enough, I said I could always try. Instead of saying that today is not bad, today is pretty good.
Yep.
Instead of saying I'm broke, I'm overcoming a cash flow problem.
Yep.
So things like that. Instead of saying it's a bad day, it's a character building day. So things to always look forward to. I realized that as soon as I change those, as well as learning more vocabularies, I start. You sort of, words are like a flashlight where you sort of only could see so far, but the more words you learn, the better you see. So that's what I did. And then I kept listening to podcasts, audios, as well as reading. And that really has took it all away. Fair enough, there's some days that I feel up and down in terms of health-wise. Weather change, like recently, nosebleed, which happens. It's easy to dwell in negativity. And then I guess the other part is changing my physiology. What I'm saying is that if you're sad, you'll notice that you're hunched over.
Yep.
You usually can tell when someone's sad. So that means, they're lowering their voice, talk like...
Yeah, body
Yeah,
language is low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way they walk is sad too, in a way. So they say you never see a sad person running because as you run, your endorphins kick in, the drugs that make you happy naturally in your body. So that's what I changed my physical state, as well as dressing. Because when you dress good, look good, you feel good, as well as smelling good too. So
Is that why you're always wearing a suit?
yeah, it helps. Especially when you walk around, people compliment, people treat you differently. So
That's true, actually.
I try to encourage all my friends to dress well because look, low-minded people will say you're trying to be fancy, but you know, when you're really out there, people treat you so much differently, so much better.
Yeah, and it's a 1% for yourself. If you just feel a bit more confident about yourself by what you're dressing, do it.
100%.
My Instagram handle on my personal account is dress like you're going somewhere better later.
Ooh.
Right? You don't
Damn,
dress.
that's a long handle.
It is. Well, not my handle. Sorry, my I guess caption.
Oh, bio. Okay.
Because it's so true. If you're dressing for a job, and it's always better to be overdressed for potentially the next job.
Yep.
Or things like that. So I'm all about that too. Not
Oh.
today, but
Cool. Finally, I'm starting to find my circle of people.
yeah,
This is good.
No, it's so important. Then you speak about language as well. It's so powerful because the glass half full, glass half empty
That's right.
changes your whole mindset.
And there was a study that shows it was accidentally discovered was that prisoners, they found that they are very limited in vocabularies. And fair enough. I relate to this so much because I remember when I only learned few words, is often bad words because any language you learn, bad words are the easiest things to learn first. So I've only learned bad words, and anything I express has always been bad. Like I'd always be angry because you have all these thoughts and emotions that you can't express, you can't articulate. So therefore, this is where I understood that, these prisoners, they can't express themselves. Therefore, it's all built up. This anger, this anguish, this hatred. So then, from there on, they start to commit all these crimes. So, and they said the vocabulary is the size of their room, which is not much at all.
Yep.
Which is like 4x4 or something. So, vocabulary is very important.
Yeah. And then there's just one other thing I wanted to comment on, which was how you said when you're in that sort of sad, depressed state of trying to improve yourself and do different things, get out and do something.
Yep.
Otherwise, you're going to be stagnant. And just remembered this quote that always stuck with me. It was I don't know if you follow the NBA at all, but
Kobe Bryant.
one of these basketball players,
Okay.
whenever he'd go back to the hood, all his guys would say, "Oh man, you've changed so much," and he'd be like, "Yeah, I have. You haven't.
Yep.
Why haven't you?"
Damn.
Word.
So I like that because it's you should be changing. You should be evolving.
That's right. Or a great saying, especially when someone has a bad day, is if you ever fall in life, try to fall on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. So that's mine. I'm sure yours would be just as
Yeah, for sure.
works for you.
Yeah. So we've sort of spoken about the gym, the stunt work.
Yep.
I guess for you, how often are you training at the moment? Because again, if anyone wants to check out the Instagram, some interesting shots there. A man in good shape. So it's a pretty big part of your life now still.
Fitness is still, and stunt work is still in my interest. I've built up my sort of network of stunties that I could be in contact with. But right now I can't work as a stuntman because of my visa issues. If not, that's the first thing I want to do when I came here. But because you sort of have to be a resident, then you have to go and get certified, and then you have to go through training in order to become a stuntman here in Australia. So I am still working towards getting my citizenship in a way, as well as my residency, and then get into it. But training-wise, I do train just enough to keep me going. Not too much where I wake up and think about it. I go to sleep thinking about it. But now it's just
a lifestyle now.
Yeah, lifestyle. Because once the day come where I need to pick it up, I will pick it up.
Yeah. So you said a bit of boxing, obviously weights.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you do that's interesting to hear about?
Yeah. So back in Fiji, when I was going through a lot of depression, I also did a lot of calisthenics, bodyweight exercises. That, in fact, turned one guy started with me, and then two guys, and then three, and then it just kept growing and growing.
Yep.
And now that I see my guy friends sort of Instagram, he's always training and he's always with a group of people. So,
Is it Kelly Studio?
pardon?
Wait, do you know Kelly Studio?
Yeah, Kelly Studio,
okay,
Rochdale. So I was training, and then people saw it and they started doing such movements too. But yeah, I was into calisthenics, boxing, as well as Muay Thai. I did a little bit of Taekwondo, a little bit of Jiu-Jitsu, a little bit, just to learn how other people fight, so that if ever come across,
Self defense.
yeah, I know what to do when I deal with someone with a higher caliber.
Yeah.
So
Wait,
that's
do you
good
go to the gym, or do you like where do you learn all of these kind of skills?
Well, over the years as growing up, I sort of, when I was old enough, I just went to the gym and paid and learned.
Oh, right.
Here in Australia right now, I am sort of not going to those gyms anymore because, for one, it's the price is right up there, as well as quality too. And I just knew that if I spent 3-4 years doing it, it won't go as far as I want it to go. So right now, I just need to sort of, I guess, build up my knowledge as well as build up my online based assets. And then when I get my residency, then I'll jump back into stunts. But for now, it's just a little bit of calisthenics as well as gym work, weightlifting, staying in shape.
That's good.
And all that stuff is always good for the content, I'm sure, which is probably the next segue.
Wait, have you watched?
I watched a few of his things. I watched a
I
couple
saw one today. It was on my For You page.
Oh my.
couple of the reels, very frequent poster. So that stuff. How did you get into the content side of things?
Great question. Funny story. So, this was when I was with my partner too, and the content I only post was me and her. I only started with maybe 50 followers or something. So one day it was summer. It was really hot, and I was wearing mask already before COVID happened. So I didn't copy any trend. It was hot, and I just wore a mask because it looked good. And then I took off my shirt because it was hot. And then me coming from, I guess, an athletic background, I was quite shredded too. So from there on, my video blew up. I only had 50 followers or something, but it blew up to a couple thousand followers, which is a lot to me in less than 24 hours, as well as the likes went to 26,000. And then as it was still blowing up, my partner at the time was like, take it down. I'm like, okay. So I took it down.
Yep.
Before it even got bigger. So I stopped all that. And then after we broke up, I had nothing to do besides drinking every day. And then I was like, oh, it's a good song. And I was shirtless again.
Seems to be a bit of a common theme here.
So yeah, that happened. And then more people commented and likes. I'm like, oh, I see what people enjoy. And because I've read sort of self-help books, and I also studied the marketplace and what people like.
Yep.
So I ended up going down that route of just posting thirst traps. Although what I am in person as well as online is completely different. People thought I was very sort of egotistic as well as arrogant as well as, sexualizing or, trying to sleep with everyone, but in person would be completely different. So I felt like that was the fun part. I'm like, that's social media, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a persona, right?
Yep.
It doesn't have to be you. It's a version of you.
100%. And it's not like I've never tried posting other contents. I've tried, but it's just not that attractive.
What about cooking?
Cooking. So,
did you try?
Yeah, cooking is something I'm diving into, which actually it's one of my highest likes and views as well.
Oh,
where I did
what
a
did you
cooking.
make?
Ramen.
Oh, wait, what? Wait, what about the Greek kind of food that you're studying, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it, but I just wanted to do something that I could take less than 5 minutes to shoot. So the shooting, the editing. So I cooked ramen, but I also added a little thirst trap.
So we
Shirtless.
Spot on.
If you're gonna do the work, you may as well get the following, right?
Yeah. So again, I've tried posting other content, but it's just not that attractive. When I try to post about business or sort of mental health issues, that didn't blow up. I tried public interviews too, but it's just something I didn't resonate with because the other influence I was with, they sort of fabricate it and make it. So they set it up and make it happen,
Yep.
which I'm all about being genuine. So that didn't resonate well with me to start with. So I just stopped that. But still looking to change my content, not thirst trap anymore. Although it's hard not to, because the moment I stop posting thirst trap, the moment the views and likes stops.
Yep.
It's just such a reality so far right now. So hence that's why I'm still in this mentorship group that we'll, I guess, get more into.
We'll touch on soon. I guess on the content stuff, do you think the fact that you did have depression and there were, obviously dark times when you moved here and with COVID and things like that, because you said you kind of started it when you moved to Australia.
Correct.
Do you think that's got an impact on why you enjoy it so much? Because it kind of uplifts you a little bit?
For me, the reason why I enjoyed it so much is because I was able to meet friends through TikTok. One is Danielle, as well as
Those thirst traps there.
yeah.
Wait. Hold on.
I'm kidding.
Hit me out.
This is your chance.
You just like see someone right, in person. Okay, like when you look at someone on TikTok, even if like content aside, right? You're just like, oh wait, you know them. It's like you don't think you're ever gonna see them again in your life. But I guess like we're still here now. So it's just kind of one of those things that you say hi and then it's like hi bye and that's it. One time meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Just saying.
That's all good.
but yeah, I met a lot of friends as well as so that's why I was just doing it more and more for fun, and then that's how sort of I met my second partner. She was Australian, but it only lasted for 5 months because I guess she was cloud chasing. I didn't learn that word until then and there, kind of thing.
Yep.
Wait, how can you tell that she's like clout chasing?
When you look at her followers, it was just all K-pop, as well as when I went to a place, pictures of idols, listening to K-pop music, which is, but I guess not cloud chasing that way, but for her, I knew from what she's saying, and when I heard it, I didn't think so, but when I told other people, they were like, she was cloud chasing.
Yeah.
And as well as learning the term gaslighting, I didn't know that was such a thing.
Oh no.
So until I experienced that, I didn't know. But until I told other people, then I learned. So that's a lot of things I learned along the way, which is quite fun. Meeting a lot of interesting people through TikTok.
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask, like when it comes to meeting a mentor, do they choose you or do you choose them?
Mentor?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So with my case, I went through a selection process.
Oh, okay.
So what it means is that they have a system of few weeks where they sort of try to educate you and see where you're at with your mindset and see what you want in life as well. If it resonates, that's cool. That's the first step. And then 2 is that if you sort of... There's a great saying that a lot of people... Well, let me ask you too. Do you guys see to believe? Like, do you have to see something in order to believe it? Or could you have faith in it and then until it happens?
Is there a right answer?
I'm probably C first.
See first.
And then
Yep.
I'll believe it.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
I was such a guy too.
I'm the other way around. Put your
Just
mind
believe
to
in
it.
things first.
That's amazing. That is really amazing. So what I'm trying to say is a lot of people see it to believe it, but something I learned along the way is believe it in order to see it. So in entrepreneur sense, it's very important, but a guy in your job, you have to sort of see the numbers first.
Yes.
You can't just believe, okay, the currency would be higher this day or that day. You sort of need to see the exact numbers or where the direction of it's going. So it's not right or wrong. It's just, engaging where you're at. And then he'll give you a scenario and again, gauge your thinking as well as gaining the reason why you want to do it. And then he'll give you a book to read. After you read it, he'll give you a time based. It was like you have to get it within 3 to 4 days before our next meeting. It's sort of to display that you're actually invested so that not everyone can just, sign up and can I be part of it. So he needs to engage that. So it's sort of like a filtering process. He wants to have like-minded people that he can, allocate his time to mentor you and teach you business. So for this was I heard that my friend was part of it, and I was like, bro, sign me up.
Yep.
But then he was like, look, he can't promise anything, but he gave in a word, and then the mentor was, how do you say, wanted to sort of engage where I'm at. So he asked me a bunch of questions, and I told him where I'm at. Things I don't know, I told him I don't know. But later on, he just said, what's more important is that you are being honest, that you don't know it instead of faking it. So in this sense, at the start, I guess I was thinking I was choosing him, but it's a way of him choosing how he spends his time.
Yeah, making sure you're serious on the same sort of wavelength.
That's right.
So that he's not wasting his time. Yeah.
And it's very important that if you have like-minded people, that one bad apple can spoil the whole barrel. So that's why we have such a filtering process, that we try to have people who want the same things in life. Birds of a feather flock together, because we're all heading in the same direction.
Do you have to pay for that?
No, not at all. The selection process was completely for free, as well as the mentoring. The way he sort of, how to say, it's a very different business, but I've never paid him 1 cent. So the way it works is that he invests his time to help me become as successful as possible. Because there's many ways to make money out there, for sure, 110%. But my mentor posed this question: there's many ways to make money, but does it make a difference to people's lives? So in that sense is, you could make money, but does it help someone build their family? Does it help this person achieve their goals and dreams? So in this case, if he helps me achieve my goals, he would sort of get compensated by the company I build and the organization I build too. That fulfills his life mission to help others become financially free. And I don't pay him at all, even until this day or even in the future. He gets compensated by another company. So that has nothing to do with me paying him. It's just I've got to show him that I'm all about it, and I really value his time. So that's why he invests his time in me.
Yeah, it's a really interesting concept. And I was gonna say, like, do you guys kind of discuss the expectations, or where you actually want it all to end up beforehand, or is that kind of just happens along the way and develops?
Well, for
Like you say,
those,
like, I really want to make this a certain amount of money by this. How do we get there? Or is it more just kind of evolves?
well, how do you say? There is a lot of people out there that says, "Oh, I want to make $1 million next year," but they never put in the work. So there's people who say, "I wanna have 1 million followers," but they never post online. So, in a sense, if you have a goal and dream, that's good. Especially a precise number and date, that's even better, because the likely chance of you achieving something with the exact number and date is much higher than someone who says, "I want this amount of money." Some people say, I want to make a lot of money. Someone gives you $1. You're a dollar richer. So, sort of gauging the right questions, and also as well as, how do you say, if you don't know where you are, you'll discover along the way. If you don't have a dream, you'll eventually catch a dream along the way. Or there's a great saying: you hang around a barbershop long enough, sooner or later you're gonna get a haircut. So
Wait,
it's taken a while for Daniel to click in, but
I'm learning too much today.
So these sayings. Yeah. I like that one.
so
Wait, I don't
in
get
other
it.
words, let's say you started to hang out with Ethan. And Ethan, all of his group of friends is all about dealing with his job. And his job could be, let's say, investing. Because I'm not sure if Ethan wants to say his job, but let's say it's about investing, right? If you hang around them long enough, you'd understand about investing, you'd know about investing, and you might eventually start investing. So
Oh,
you hang around a barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut.
And on the flip side to that, you hang around a lot of drug addicts.
Yes,
Eventually you'll slip into it. So it's
100%.
your surroundings really dictate.
oh, it's like you are what the people around you are.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Okay.
A really good mindset. Now we're gauging.
Okay.
That's really
No,
good.
I didn't get the barbershop one because like,
So eventually you'll grow into it.
but if you're like walking around a barbershop,
Or your hair will just grow too long that you need a cut.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm kidding. No, that's not it.
Wait, no,
They-
that kind of makes more sense to me. Though. Wait,
Okay.
I guess
well,
it works too.
because you just go barbershop. Okay, no, I'm overthinking it. But
Yeah.
it's okay. Continue.
Shout out to our sponsor, Ronan Grooming, if anyone's
Oh.
got
Wow.
while we're here. Wild's Gym, if anyone needs a trim. Yeah.
Oh, Well Gym. Wait,
Yeah.
what? Well Gym.
Wild's Gym McGregor.
They,
You been to the barbershop there?
they have a barbershop in there?
Yeah, at the back.
I've
nice.
been to Well Gym. I've never been there.
Oh.
I mean, fair enough. I don't go to the bar.
What a good timing.
So Sioni, obviously you're a busy man. You've got so many different things going. We haven't really even spoken about your more normal 9 to 5, which is definitely would not hurt on the ladies' front. Being a chef, so that we sort of spoke about it off camera. You always enjoyed food and things like that, especially now Mediterranean Greek food. How did you stumble your way into that?
Well, I was trying to increase my points as a husband. No, I'm kidding.
It's the TikTok coming out.
It was because, look, I grew up in Asian culture. I love Asian food, but it's just so happens that the Chinese restaurants, they don't pay the best. If you guys need a cash job, do go to a Chinese restaurant. But
$8.50 an hour.
But if you want to sort of, I guess, legally get paid and then try to apply your visas and try to take things seriously, then you can try your best to find a great Asian restaurant that pays legally, or you just jump onto the Western side of cooking food. So jumped into Greek. I did not like olives. I did not like anything Western until I worked in it. It was the best thing ever. Like quality food, fine dining.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Greek food. There's quite a few nice places around now. In
100%.
Brisbane, which is
Hellenica is a great one. Oh,
Yeah.
This is not sponsored. Shouldn't say it.
Oh, so you at Hellenica?
So I work for the same boss under Hellenica, but they open a restaurant just across the road. It's called Sunshine.
Okay.
So it's like a buffet style, but Mediterranean Greek. There you can get great fish, meatballs, as well as chicken.
Yep.
And a great variety of vegan option as well as gluten-free, nut-free. So I guess anyone that's vegetarian or vegan could go to such place because they have over 20 options. So it's great.
Good for the gram as well, I'm sure.
Mhm.
And then I guess my last question is, so you have all these different things going on. So the gym stuff, mentorship, food, content. What's the motivation at the moment for you? Because like we spoke about, you said it's not about a dollar value. It's not about trying to make yourself richer.
Yep.
What's the motivation right now for you?
It's a lot more different when you have a team of people behind you now. You don't think as an individual, but you think as a team. Something that might be beneficial right now may not be beneficial for the team.
Yep.
And like, I was just like Danny, trying a bunch of things. I tried TikTok, did it, tried this and that, did it. Because they say if you don't have a particular route, you just choose something, do it. Doesn't work out, choose another one, do it. Doesn't work out, at least you know what you don't like. And then you eventually start to figure things out. I guess, like we were speaking earlier about Shark Tank, they said you might fail 10 businesses, but it's that one business that will make the biggest difference. And that's all it takes.
Yep. No, I think that's really good advice. A lot of people, like you say, I want 1 million followers. How are you going to get any if you don't post anything? I want $1 million. How are you going to get anything if you don't post anything or you don't do anything? So there's a lot there to learn, I think, for people.
And then getting back to the book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, you know how I said trading time for money? You'd sort of work until you die, and you sort of, unless you try to find ways to make money while you sleep, then you would be working until you die. So what I'm trying to say is, fair enough, I tried this bunch of things, but I know for a fact that this mentorship thing, I'll be doing it for the rest of my life.
Yep.
Because it's as well as, how to say, what's the term? Oh, it's willable. So if I pass away, at least the legacy will carry on. Yeah. And how do you say? It's a business model where, let's say let me ask the question to you guys. The job that you did last week, or the last salary paycheck that you got, or let's just say 5 years ago, the job that you did 5 years ago, does it still pay you now?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Cause I'm not working right now. So like,
So,
Didn't you work at a bubble tea place at one point?
no. I worked at Starbucks. Oh, okay. I started Macca's and Starbucks.
Okay.
okay, but yeah, the job that you did that particular week, does it still pay you every single week from here onwards, especially after you left?
Savings.
No.
I
No.
don't
The,
know.
the,
Honestly,
the, the answer is no. But anyway,
Okay.
carry on.
So what I'm trying to say is that the company keeps paying you. So it pays you. Most people would get paid, put in the savings. Now that's it. If he gets, I was working as a casual. Probably when I talk about my experience, then you might understand it better. But when you work as a casual, when you work for a week, you only get paid once. That means you get paid for the job that you did, and that's it. Or let's say the person that constructed or helped Ethan sort of build his shelf, he only gets paid off the sale he made from the shelf once. You sell a bubble tea, let's say you start a business, a bubble tea shop, and you only sold one drink and you close the shop. Does the bubble tea keep paying you in terms of like royalties or anything? You sort of just get the sale off and that's it. You sort of don't have any more income. So the best part about this is that you sort of, my mentor said the job he did 35 years ago is still paying him towards this day. So think of a salesman who sells product. Every sale he makes, that's when he makes money. But the best part about the mentorship I'm in, a job that you did this year will pay you continuously for the rest of your life, even until your kids. So it's a lot more different.
Yeah. No, it makes a lot of sense. It's like, as you said, it's like just like investing. You're making money while you sleep. You're making money in the future for the work you're doing now.
Correct.
Versus being an employee and getting paid for just what you've done.
Yeah. And I guess that's entrepreneurship. You start to do a lot of work that you don't get paid for, and then you start to get paid for work that you don't do anymore.
Yeah. That's good.
Daniel is
No,
slowly
okay,
digesting.
I think I get it, but I don't know how to put it into words yet. It's marinating up there.
That's fine.
That's right. And then I guess full circle, Sioni. So it's all about being bananas and our Asian experiences. So what has your experience like been? So obviously you've spoken about Fiji, where you felt like you were victimized or bullied or whatever, however you want to term it, because you were Chinese in a non-Asian country. What's it like being like since you've been in Australia? Have you experienced any racism, discrimination?
Probably once when I was walking home from the valley.
Oh, the valley.
Yeah, I remember this white girl was like, "Oh, Asian." I'm like, "Hi, what's this, a zoo?" Anyways, that's probably the only thing. But other than that, I've been treated really well here in Australia. Something that was a shock was when I started to meet people. They're like, "Oh, I asked them what's the experience, and they said sort of Asian guys are a lot more nice compared to locals. There's this one Aussie friend of mine. She said the reason why she's with an Asian guy is because she wanted to go to sushi. She wanted to travel to Japan. She wanted to have all these nice clothes. She wanted to try a whole bunch of things because she didn't want to be with the Aussie guy that just wants steaks, burgers, and beers. And probably not well hygiene.
Fair enough.
Not very clean.
Yep.
So, and I guess a blessing that I've been experiencing is, I know this sounds weird, but since COVID happened, a lot of people has been staying home, right? So they started watching Netflix, and then Western movies is only so much that a lot of it now is K-dramas. Now, there's a certain perception of how Asian guys are. And I guess sometimes the way I dress, people would sort of mistaken me as a Korean guy or a Japanese guy, which happened a lot too. And then, yeah, they speak to me in different languages that I don't understand.
Yeah.
Japanese, Korean, as well as Thai, Vietnamese. That's when my skin's darker than they assume that I'm Vietnamese, which is funny. But yeah, my experience here in Australia has been amazing. People the Australians, if you're listening, has treated me nothing but respect and good vibes. So
Yeah.
that for me it was great. I've always seen it as a blessing. Although when I was younger, I wish I was white. But now I'm grateful that I'm Asian.
Yeah. Because that would have been my second sort of follow up would have been, so there's discrimination aside, but then when has it actually been a positive? And I think I'd have to agree with you right now. It's definitely handy being in Australia, an Asian in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of us, firstly, so we're not really outcast. But secondly, media is kind of on our side when it comes to, well, there's just a lot more, it's a lot cooler
Yep,
to be an Asian right now. So
100%. And I guess if you dress well, it's a bonus too. So because K-drama has portrayed such fantasies that I guess hence why my TikTok's blowing up too. Because ladies have certain fantasies about Asian men, which maybe it's very weird to a lot of people hearing this, but also as well as it's just normal.
Yeah.
There's some people who just prefer a certain race.
I know, like, especially me, like in my work and things like that, the assumption is always because I'm Asian that I'm good with numbers and I'm smart, which sometimes I can be.
Mm.
But yeah, I'll take it. I'll take the stereotype all day, every day. So it's good to hear your experience on that.
Mm.
Well, Danny's just got a couple of quick questions to ask. It's sort of a rapid fire, so don't really think about it too much. But if there's some context to give behind your answers, that'd be cool. So let's do it.
You ready? Who's your biggest role model?
Biggest role model? Oof. My mentor.
Hey.
What is it about him that makes him such an important person for you?
Yep, he leads by example and not by just words, because action speaks louder than words.
Yep.
Okay. What does a meaningful life look like to you?
Meaningful life is when I help people achieve their dreams and goals in life, because when I was younger, I wish someone would help me, but no one did. So now that I'm trying to make it, I want to help others make it too.
Nice.
Perfect.
What is your greatest accomplishment?
My greatest accomplishment would be, for me, I guess, picking up a book and read, because someone's 50 years experience is shrink down to a couple hundred pages, which I learn in a week. So that's good.
Do you read it like a lot? I feel like you read a lot.
I do.
Yeah, like every day consistently.
100%. That's what me and my team and the team of entrepreneurs are doing too.
What's the book right now?
The book right now is called Pursuit. Success is in the pursuit. That means it's sort of not about the goal, but the journey of achieving your dreams and goals.
Nice. Okay. What's your dream job?
My dream job, I guess, spending every sort of minute I have helping others achieve their goals, whether it's financial problems or family, friends, as well as I guess consulting others when it comes to difficult situation, especially at jobs too.
I feel like there's a market for that, like being a life consultant, especially for younger men, because there's just a lot of things out there that you don't consider, you don't even know that you should be considering.
Yep.
I think there's something there.
100%. Oh,
yeah, would you say you would be like a mentor as well to other people?
Right now, I do I do coach a little bit, but as a mentor, I'm not just there yet. Still have a lot to learn and grow through my mentor, who is right now teaching me. So I really appreciate his time, and I'll be going to Townsville soon to see him. So that'll be good fun.
Wait, what? He's in Townsville?
Yeah, he is.
How would others describe you?
Oof.
Easiest is 3 words if you have them.
Ambitious, genuine, crazy.
Crazy.
Ambitious, genuine. I can see. Crazy. Why would you say crazy?
Because sometimes I'm like soft spoken or very nice, but then sometimes when the room's too quiet, I go a little. I speak a lot louder. I say funny stories and jokes.
Yep.
So that would be my crazy. Or I work hard and I party hard.
Yep.
Harder.
True. I can vouch. Wait, would you say you're introvert or extrovert?
Born introvert and then programmed extrovert.
Nice. Okay. What's one thing you would change about yourself? It doesn't have to be physically.
Ooh, one thing I could change about myself, doesn't have to be physically, would be my mindset.
Really?
Yep.
Like to make it like upgrade it or like change it completely?
If I could change it completely, that'd be amazing. But for now, it'd be upgrading, enhancing. Actually, start putting action behind the words that I speak.
I don't know if I asked you this one. Do you have an answer?
Actually, I feel like I would be the same.
Being able to change the mindset, like flick of a button.
Yeah.
Thanos.
I thought about this one. Couldn't really come up with other than I just wish I was a bit taller.
Oh wait, did you ask me that one?
No, I don't think it was.
No.
I think I've changed that one.
Okay.
But
No, yeah, I feel like I would be the same, but like, yeah, definitely putting actions into action.
Words
Wait.
into action.
Okay. Never mind.
Moving on.
Okay, yeah. What do you do to relax?
What I do to relax? Read.
Fair enough. Wait, do you like drink tea, coffee with it, or
Just how to say it's sachets. What do I call it? Zinc. Zinc, magnesium,
Damn.
mixed with water. Because I do take a bunch of vitamins and minerals too. Because in order to perform well, you've got to have the right ingredients in your body.
Yep.
To feel your drive.
Do you actually think they're like really effective?
Well, I know for a fact it's effective because I was sort of vitamin D deficient. That means
Oh yeah.
less exposure to the sun because I was working in the kitchen before the sun's up and before the sun's down and after the sun's down. So ever since I took it, my sort of mental health and as well as everything has just been up.
Wait, really? Just vitamin D?
Pardon?
Just vitamin D?
Correct.
I'm also vitamin D deficient.
Yeah. When I got my tattoo, I reckon I didn't go in the sun for 2 months because the guy said so. And then I've just probably the darkest I've been in years. But anyway, it's not about me.
Yeah. Next, describe your perfect day.
My perfect date.
Day.
Guess would be waking up, working out, listening to a bunch of podcasts, reading, cold plunges, and then going out, coaching, helping people, as well as when I do have a future partner, I guess go on a date with her, spend quality time with her, as well as calling my family, and then as well as going to spiritual meetings, and then continue to help people, have a sauna, continue reading and listening to audios.
Would it end up with a drink at the end of the day?
Drink? No.
No. See, I always pictured my perfect day would everything's done, kids are asleep, everyone's happy, and then I'd have a drink with a couple people that I'd like to chat to. That would be a really good end to the day, I think, without getting too stupid.
I actually had some prepared answers for these questions, but we'll do this for now.
And then I guess for mine, is there anything you want to shout out now? So for anyone's listening, again, you've got a few things going on.
Yeah.
Now's the chance.
If you guys want to follow me on TikTok, just check out my content for now because before it will start to change. My TikTok is Sioni_520. And then my Instagram is Sioni_Fiji. So that's SIONI_FIJI. And then for those of you that I suppose are looking for entrepreneurial goals and hope to have a mentor in your life or just want to sort of suss things out, see if it's the right path for you, do reach out to me. And if you're, I guess, interested in entrepreneurship as well as self-development, because I'm all about self-development, something that saved my life, and hopefully my story could, one day change your story. Because can't change what has happened, but I could change how it ends.
Damn.
That's awesome. And then where do you see yourself 5 years time?
5 years time.
Any thoughts on that?
Yep. 5 years time, I would be working as stuntman just for the fun of it. I would be financially retired. I would be having my residency in Australia, hopefully. Depends how the Queensland government take it, right?
Just marry a local.
On.
Easy. That's off camera, by the way.
And then it would be, hopefully I get to travel around the world, and I guess biggest part is retire my mom. That's my goal.
That's awesome, man. It's very clear-cut, achievable goals, which is all before the age of 30, which would be nice.
Yeah, got to start somewhere.
That's it, man. No, awesome. Well, thanks a lot. I can speak for us. We both learned so much and a lot of inspirational things in there, and you've lived an interesting life so far, and I think everyone's looking forward to where the next kind of chapter takes you. So.
And I'm down to come by anytime and I guess
Yeah, you should
hang
do
out
a
and see where we're at.
Yeah, for sure, man. 100%.
Follow-up episode in 5 years' time.
Hopefully it's still going. But
Yeah,
thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate it.
awesome. Thanks for having me. This is, I guess, quite nervous until now, but it's much better.
Yeah.
Getting a lot more comfortable, so this is good.
Easy.